This is the Extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast. I'm Oisin Langan. Coming up, we're at Weavers Park to analyse Drogheda United's 2-2 draw with Derry City. We'll talk about Dundalk's scoreless draw at home to St. Pat's. Is there such a thing as a bad away point? I think St. Pat's might feel there is. They will feel they should have won this game. Wasn't an amazing match. We had live coverage on the St. Pat's app. Keane and Shane Keegan were amongst those watching it for us, and we'll get their thoughts on that game. Shelbourne lost 2-1 at home to Bohemians. Jordan Flores with both goals there, one of them from a penalty. Afterwards, he spoke to Tony O'Donoghue on RTE, having been named the man of the match, and he said he'll play anywhere he's asked to play. He just wants to put a shift in. That was in response to a question Tony asked him about whether or not he'd like to go back into the middle of the field and stay there. Bows, by the way, play on Monday night against Dundalk. We will have an Extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast after that match. Waterford with a scoreless draw against Galway United, the two promoted teams meeting there. And Barry Murphy of Extratime.com was at Tallaght Stadium to watch Shamrock Rovers beat Sligo Rovers by 3-0. Well, he was there for LOI TV. He was also there for Extratime.com. We don't have an exclusive relationship with Barry. It's an open relationship. He'll talk to us not only about that game, but also what it's like for players who have to try and soak in tactical information ahead of a game on Monday when they've played on Friday. How tough is that? What's the best way to do it? We'll get a detailed analysis from Barry on that, and he'll tell us what it's like. In the First Division, UCD drawing 0-0 with Cork City. We'll hear from Tim Clancy, the Cork City manager, following that game. It wasn't a bad draw for City, and well, that would have been the case regardless of what happened elsewhere, but the fact that Finn Harps lost means that Cork City are now 4 points clear at the top. Both them and Harps have played 10 games. UCD in third position on 15 points. Wexford fourth on 14 points because they got a good win away to Cove Ramblers. Right, as I say, coming up, Keane and Shane Keegan. We'll also hear from Barry Murphy and Cork City manager Tim Clancy. First though, let's go to Weavers Park, where Drogheda United drew 2-2 with Derry City. Extratime.com's Tom O'Connor was loaned out for the night to Drive 105, where he was joined by Michael Keely on commentary. After the game, they chatted about what they had just seen and sent us this voice note.
It was a game of two halves where Drogheda took an early lead through Warren Davis before they were pegged back by two Derry City strikes. First one coming from a header from Michael Duffy on the half hour before, just as the first half was drawing to a close. Will Patching strode forward, put a shot into the top corner from 25 yards. Second half, Drogheda, who had been hit by a couple of full back changes in the first half, were forced to change shape. And second half they come out with a back three, pressed Derry back. Derry were holding on and almost looked like they would snatch a win. France Piero, substitute, came on and with a couple of minutes to go curled in a lovely equaliser. Michael, that's the short and sweet of it. We sat through 95 minutes. What did you make?
Well, it really is the short and sweet of it. But I mean, the one thing that I would say, it was an absolutely fantastic game. 4 goals here, 3 goals in the first half. Derry City might view this as a missed opportunity. They did seem very much to be in the ascendancy coming up to the first half. At the end of the first half, I don't know, there's a degree of complacency set in, but you really couldn't begrudge Drogheda United that late equaliser, particularly given the sickener that they had against Shelbourne the previous week. I think it was thoroughly deserved draw for Drogheda United.
And like you say, look, that's two draws 2 weeks in a row here. Last week, obviously the home fans will feel somewhat, I won't say aggrieved, but somewhat that they had the win within their grasp. This week it looked like it was slipping away, and especially tonight would it feel even more sweeter given the fact that first half there were very disrupted injuries to both full-backs already. Luke Keely was serving a suspension, so Andrew Quinn was deputising for him. Andrew Quinn went off with an injury. Evan Weir subsequently went off with an injury as well. So you have 2 new full-backs on, changed the shape. Derry City, who had been in ascendancy, second half, Drogheda took that new shape, took control of the second half, and it was only actually when Derry changed shape that they did concede. Derry, like you say, will be disappointed, especially with Shelbourne dropping points.
I think that is very much the case. But again, I have to say, I mean, even though I'm doing the commentary for Derry City games, I think you have to talk about Drogheda United tonight. That was a brave move by Kevin Doherty to go to a back three in the second half, to take Baha off, push Aaron McNally up one side, Conor Kane on the other. The 2 wing backs caused Derry all sorts of trouble. And interestingly, Derry didn't change their shape until very, very late in the game. It did look as if they might hang on, but it even the most staunch Derry City fan would find it hard to begrudge Drogheda United the point tonight.
And a fitting way to end. So from myself, Tom O'Connor, from Michael Keely, Oisin, it's back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Tom O'Connor and Michael Keely. Michael Keely of Drive 105. Tom also of Drive 105 for that game last night, but more regularly of Extratime.com. Still to come, Barry Murphy on Shamrock Rovers 3-0 win against Sligo Rovers. Right now though, let's concentrate on Dundalk's 0-0 draw at home to St. Pat's. St. Pat's probably had the better of it, but still didn't create too many clear-cut chances. Dundalk looked a bit jittery at times, but showed really good fight. Daryl Horgan, I thought, played very well. We had live coverage on the St. Pat's app. You can download that wherever you get your apps from. There's a watch party for every St. Pat's game, home and away. Alan Keane, formerly of Sligo Rovers and Dundalk, and of course Shane Keegan, who you know well. They joined Aoife Mullen for post-game analysis. We'll get the thoughts of Shane in just a second. But first, Alan Keane on whether or not maybe St. Pat's slightly underestimated Dundalk. Now, he didn't say they'd do it on purpose, but it can happen, players, when things just kind of seep in. Anyway, this is what he had to say.
A lot of the Pats players, I think, just thought they'd have to show up and they'd win the game handy enough. But to be fair, Dundalk put it up to them, and as you said, they got that little bounce. And credit to them, they got straight into it from the start, and even in the second half, I thought they might have died off a little bit, which they did a little bit towards the end of the game. But credit to them for rolling their sleeves up, I suppose, and digging in. And Pats, look, it's done. They'll dust themselves down. But as you said, John Daly will definitely have to have a look at the way forward, because one win out of the first round of fixtures, as you say, away from home is not really title contender stuff, if I'm honest.
Shane has rejoined us. What did you make of it? So this is the first time that we've been chatting to you since half time, and I suppose we touched on it with Alan there. The changes that we were anticipating didn't come as quickly as we thought they might, and the general consensus here is it was just too little too late from a Pat's point of view.
Yeah, probably the case. Look, I feel we arguably saw the game of the season last week, Aoife. I thought we got an absolute cracker, and then unfortunately we've got the flip side of that tonight. We've got one that certainly won't go down in the history books, that's for sure. Look, yeah, they got those players on. Did they make an impact? Keane Levy made an impact, yeah, definitely. I think he showed, but I mean, even he was, in those rare moments where a team did get into the final third and you're expecting a show of quality, you think of that. I think it was maybe 75 on 75 to 80 minutes thereabouts. That ball over the top for Keane Levy. It looks initially as if Keane Levy's in here, was my instinct. He's getting onto this. And Andy Boyle crucified me if we heard this saying it, but you're looking at Andy Boyle going, Keane Levy should have Andy Boyle for pace here. There should only be one winner. And Boyle gets across and deals with it without much fuss, really, to be honest with you. And that was kind of indicative of the whole night, that once teams got into the final third, there was very, very little to show, really, from either side. Obviously, the chance of the game, in my opinion, is that one laid on for Jake Mulroney. It's a brilliant through ball by Lennon, and Keane Levy does do everything right. I'm not sure, could Jake have manipulated his body? I felt maybe that he came at it with his wrong foot. I don't know, could he have gone at it with the other foot and made the angle a little bit better for himself? But look, Pats will have to be disappointed. They really would have expected an opportunity tonight to build on the two previous results. Dundalk, look, did they show much more in terms of an attacking perspective? As we're aware, I think they'd come into the game not having scored in the last four, or not maybe the last four home games. Maybe it was something like that. Mm-hmm. Sure, they didn't. Defensively, it was about as easy a night as Pats could ask for. But they'll be absolutely delighted with a clean sheet, and delighted to be getting a point and getting out of play. So they will be. There's no doubt they will be the happier team coming away from it. Even though they're the home team, they probably should be showing a little bit more attack and impetus. But yeah, hard to put your finger on why, given the last two strong performances from Pats, hard to know why they seem to be so below par tonight.
This is the Extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast, and that was Shane Keegan. Before him, you heard from Alan Keane, and Aoife Mullen was in the middle there asking the questions. They joined Aoife on the St. Pat's app for the watch-along of Dundalk's scoreless draw with St. Pat's. St. Pat's cover every game, home and away, with a watch-along on the St. Pat's app. It's very much worth downloading. Right, let's move to Tallaght Stadium. Shamrock Rovers with a 3-0 victory against Sligo Rovers. Graham Burke scoring 1, Aaron Green scoring 2 against his old club. We're joined now by former Shamrock Rovers, Bohemians and St. Pat's goalkeeper Barry Murphy, who was on LOI TV duty. Barry, it sounds like normal service was resumed by Shamrock Rovers.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a really professional performance and sprinkled with a bit of quality. Really disappointing performance from Sligo Rovers. They didn't offer a lot up top and just really just looked a bit disorganised, passed the balls out of play. Didn't have that bite about them tonight that they had in the first game from the showgrounds, and Shamrock Rovers picked them off eventually in a stunning goal from Graham Burke. Really got the ball rolling, and then a couple from Aaron Green sealed the win for the Hoops.
And Burke, he really impressed you tonight, didn't he? Scored a goal in the 36th minute, but overall his play was very good.
Yeah, he has these purple patches, Graham Burke. He can go 3 or 4 games without doing much, and then he's got these purple patches where he comes up with a couple of goals as well. But tonight his overall play was excellent. He was all over the pitch. He was looking for the ball, and the goal tonight just epitomised his play. He was looking for it early, didn't get it, got a ball back off Aaron Green and just smashed it, kind of like that goal Rooney got against Newcastle a couple of years ago, just with a bit of venom behind it straight into the top corner. It was an unbelievable strike, and then on he just ran the show, and it was really kind of only one winner from then on.
And was he dropping deep and running things, or was he playing as an out-and-out striker? Where was he playing tonight? How were Shamrock Rovers structured?
Yeah, their usual kind of. He's played in that pocket just behind kind of Aaron Green there. That's where he likes to play, and that's kind of. He found he wasn't getting the ball kind of early on. He got a little bit frustrated, put in a couple of tackles, got himself a booking as well, and you could just see he had that bite about him. Though he was going and chasing the ball back a little bit too deep for his and the manager's liking as well. But when he does get on the ball, the quality he has is phenomenal, and his strike is just. Wait till you see it tonight on the highlights. Really, it's just a brilliant strike. He's no back lift. He's about 22 yards out and he slammed it into the top corner.
Well, it sounds like an amazing goal. For Aaron Green, he scored a brace tonight as we talk, most likely tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, as people listen. Tonight was his 227th game for Shamrock Rovers. He's now scored 48 goals. For Sligo Rovers, he scored 16 in 97. For Bray Wanderers, 12 and 48. For St. Pat's, 12 and 48. For Limerick, 13 in 27. For Bows, 3 in 22. And for Galway United, 5 in 14. Now, we kind of don't need to dive into Aaron Green tonight, even though he's kind of the hero who scored 2 goals, because we did it a couple of weeks ago. We just spoke about how great he was. Well, he proved that tonight, didn't he?
It's just workmanlike performances every week from him. Even his goals tonight, he doesn't over celebrate with them. He does little fist bump to the crowd and gets on with it and gets himself a second. He got a bit fortuitous with the first goal. Excellent work from Burke down the right, and Aaron found himself space in the edge of the box and got a strike off, and it's deflected in from McGinty. But the second goal, he gets it's an unbelievable ball from Marcus Poom. It's howling, it's blowing a gale up here now, and Talon just spitting the car thawing out. But an unbelievable ball from Poom down the side, right pinpoint pass in front of Aaron Green, takes two touches with it into the box. McGinty sells himself a little bit short, puts all his weight onto his left foot and opens the near post up for Aaron Green, who smashes it home. But just a workmanlike performance from Aaron Green, and he just gives you that every week. And in terms of Shamrock Rovers squad, they're looking a little bit threadbare for the quality they kind of have, and they're used to the kind of personnel they usually have available. And the likes of Aaron Green have just stepped into that void unbelievably and contributed. And it's just his work rate on his goals he's contributed tonight as well.
Well, I have to say, you say threadbare, but I look at their starting lineup. Now, this is off Google, so it may not necessarily be the most accurate. Pulls between the sticks. Lopez, Honohan and Cleary as a back 3. Burns, O'Neill, Watts and Poom across the middle as a 4. Burke in front of them and Green and Nugent either side. If that's threadbare, I'll take it every day.
Yeah, it's kind of gilding the lily a little bit, I think, with Shamrock Rovers. Their squad is just phenomenal, you know.
Yeah.
And then you see Richie Towell and the lights coming on, and Trevor Clark came on, Conan Newland came on, and it's just excellent everywhere. But when you look at the lads that are missing, the Aaron McInniff, Jack Burns, they're all still to come back in, and Rovers are still getting the job done. So, yeah, in terms of Rovers squad, it was threadbare, but for everyone else, you'd easily take that 11.
Let's talk about Sligo Rovers. I know you said earlier on they didn't look. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you weren't overly impressed with them tonight. Was it a case of they just came up against a really good team and there wasn't much they could do, or do you think that they'll be heading back to Sligo disappointed with what they did or the effort they put in?
They looked okay in the first 20 minutes.
Okay.
Kind of, he set up with a 4-3-3 formation, kept things tight in the middle, left a lot of space for Dara Burns out wide, and then he kind of exposed that a little bit. And then, yeah, they did okay. They just offered nothing up front. Anytime they got close to the goal, they just misplaced the pass, or even at set pieces, you got a chance to bring your two centre halves up and take the wrong choice, goes play short and lose the ball. It was just little things like that. It just didn't happen on the night for them. But they went back to their traditional, say in the last couple of weeks, the 4-4-1-1 in the second half. But Rovers killed the game 5 minutes into the second half, and there's not much she could do about it. But just overall, it was just a bit lackluster from them. It was similar to probably the Pats performance, another 3-0 defeat away from home. But listen, the league is all about the results over the next kind of 5 games. A lot of them are at home, so that's kind of where they are at the moment.
And they really are threadbare, Sligo Rovers. They've got a decent team, but their squad would not be deep. I'm asking you to react to the result rather than the performance, because obviously you didn't see the game. But what did you make of it when you heard Bows beat Shelburne by 2-1? Flores with both goals, one from a penalty. Apparently he was in midfield tonight. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it was, Alan's moved from out to centre half. He started in centre half up Rovers here the last time Bows played him. But yeah, it was kind of a weird one in the crowd. It's not a place you want to be cheering for Bows, but in terms of results, you were looking for them to pick up something there in Talca Park. But yeah, obviously I don't know what went on in the game, but this is a kind of sticky patch now for Shells, where you kind of see what they're really made of in terms of their attitude and how they come back from this, and as always, be interesting to see Damien's interview after it.
Well, he said after the game that they were the better team and he couldn't be prouder of his lads. And he said more than once that they were the better team and that he couldn't be prouder of his team. So whether or not he actually believes that, or whether or not he's just saying it, I don't know. But that's what he said in his post-match interview with RTE. It was a great night overall for Shamrock Rovers, actually, because both Pats and Derry dropped points. Now, they were both away from home, so draws weren't too bad. But it means that Shelburne have a 5-point lead at the top. Derry are second on 16. Shamrock Rovers third on 15. But of course, Shamrock Rovers have a game in hand on Shelburne and Derry. So St. Pat's are on 14 points. They're in fourth. Is it a four-way title challenge, or how do you see it?
It's just ominous. I think Rovers lurking in the background there. I think Derry have to go there and win. I think if you really want to be considered title challengers and for your own kind of makeup and psyche going into this league, I think you have to go to draw and win again, especially when you're 2-1 up. You can't concede there. They'd be really disappointed. I think they had a similar result last year that kind of derailed things for them. But yeah, in terms of putting a real title challenge together, you've got to go there and win. Yeah. Obviously, Shell's result and everywhere kind of results after Shamrock Rovers, and they've moved up to third within 6 points with a game in hand. So yeah, things looking rosy again up in Tala.
And you're heading off on Monday night to Dalymount Park for Bohemians and Dundalk. That'll be interesting now, won't it? After Dundalk got a confidence boosting win this evening, and Bows got Dundalk got a confidence boosting draw this evening against St. Pat's. They weren't bad. They created chances. I was on commentary of that game. And Bows obviously got that win. So they're both going into it kind of on a high. Does that... Come here. I often hear reporters and commentators saying things like that they're going into it on a high because of their last result. I'm as guilty as the next person of doing it. Does it actually make a great difference, Barry, as a player, going into a game a couple of days later, what you did the previous night?
If you pick up a win, it's brilliant. You're bouncing, and they won't do much now. Tomorrow and Sunday, they did a little bit of tactical stuff on Sunday, but you're obviously definitely going better into the game after a win than a loss. It does. A loss can sap the energy, but when you're bouncing into a win with a massive win, that's a huge win. It's not a free hit against Dundalk on Monday because you're looking to pick up points, but you pick up a draw there and you say that's a decent weekend's work. 4 points there. So yeah, for Dundalk's point of view, they really need to pick up points. They've got to pick up a big win somewhere.
And how difficult is it as a player to try and get that information to stick? Because the players tonight, I imagine, a lot of them will be up very late because you're probably buzzing after a match, especially if you win, actually, or get a decent result as Dundalk did. So you're sleeping late. You're getting up maybe late enough tomorrow. You're not doing you can't really work through it on the pitch, can you? Because you can't do a whole lot of physical stuff. So maybe it is all mental. So how difficult is it to actually get the tactics into players for the second game when it's 2 games in 4 days?
that's literally the problem. It's all about getting that information in. You won't do anything physically wise. I always found it better when, obviously it's easy to say now, but when the manager gave you the day off the night after a match, it was much easier than coming in and doing recovery work, because you're not sleeping till 3 or 4 in the morning. It used to be the recovery session. You came in on a Saturday morning, did a nice bath or a small little game of 2-touch or something like that, just to get the legs going again. But you need that sleep, because you're deprived of sleep for a couple of hours, and then you're getting up again and your whole routine is off. So I always found it better when you did give them that day off on the Saturday, and then you can kind of refocus things again. You wake up and you start thinking about the game Monday then, and then a Sunday it's all about just tactics. You're sitting there and you're watching video, you're going through a couple of set pieces on the pitch and not much else really. But yeah, it's a lot easier to do when you picked up 3 points on the Friday.
Okay, Barry Murphy, formerly of Shamrock Rovers, St. Pat's and Bohs, thanks for joining us from outside Tallaght Stadium. You're parked near enough to the stadium. You were on LOI TV commentary duty with, I presume it was Con Murphy tonight?
It was, yeah.
Okay, just before I let you go, I don't want to make it awkward. Who's your favourite co-commentator? Con or me? I'm only messing. Don't answer that question. We all know it's Con. Okay, Barry, thanks for joining us on the Extratime.com League of Ireland Voice Notes podcast.
Cheers, Oisin. Have a good night.
Always good to hear from Barry Murphy, and you'll hear from him again on Monday night. Well, Tuesday morning, by the time the podcast comes out, but you know what I mean. Let's run back through the Premier Division scores. Drogheda United 2, Derry City 2, Dundalk 0, St. Pat's 0, Shelbourne 1, Bohs 2, Shamrock Rovers 3, Sligo Rovers 0, and Waterford FC 0, Galway United 0. I texted Jonathan Higgins, who was on commentary for that game on Galway Bay FM, and I asked him if the match was as boring as the scoreline suggested. And he said, no, it was actually a really enjoyable game. Now, speaking of Waterford FC, those of you who have been listening to us for a while will know that I have felt that in the past, Waterford didn't do enough to drum up support on the west side of the county. I live in the Abbeyside Dungarvan region, and the other night I was in a pub in Dungarvan and I saw posters which were put there by Waterford FC about fans meeting up in local pubs to watch away games. That was really good to see, and it's another step to kind of embracing the whole county, which is something that Waterford FC really need to do. Now, I know there are supporters of the club all around the county, and there's Facebook groups and whatnot, but it's never been kind of driven by the club itself, like never properly driven, not driven to the extent it should be, but that's starting to happen now. Let's run you through the table before we go through what's coming up fixture-wise. Shelbourne's still on top. They're on 21 points. Derry second on 16 points. Shamrock Rovers third on 15 points. St. Pat's fourth on 14 points. Bohemians fifth on 13 points. They've only played 9 games. Shamrock Rovers, by the way, have also only played 9 games. Sligo Rovers are sixth after 9 games on 12 points. Waterford, 7th on 12 points after 10 games. Galway United, 8th on 11 points from 9 games. Drogheda United, 2nd from bottom on 8 points from 9 games. And Dundalk, still bottom, 4 points adrift of Drogheda United. They're on 4 points, having played only 9 games. There is a Premier Division fixture on Monday evening. That's Bohemians against Dundalk. There's also a bunch of Premier League matches next Friday night. As per usual, let's go through them. Bohemians taking on Drogheda, Derry City up against Shamrock Rovers, Galway United take on Shelbourne, St. Pat's play Waterford, and Sligo Rovers take on Dundalk. I will be at the St. Pat's Waterford game. We'll have live coverage on LOI TV. We'll also have live coverage on the St. Pat's app. Let's see what happened in the first division. At Lone Town 1, Finn Harps 0, Cove Ramblers 2, Wexford 4, and Treaty United 0, Kerry FC 0. Kerry's good run continues with a good draw away to Treaty. At the Bowl, UCD hosted Cork City. It ended scoreless. We'll hear from Tim Clancy, the Cork City manager, in just a moment. But first, Extratime.com's Andrew Dempsey was there, and afterwards sent us this voice note.
Look, it was probably a game where both teams didn't deserve to lose. Obviously, it's been a strange week for Cork City in the sense that they don't know when their next home game is going to be played. So, look, I think the main thing for them was just to avoid defeat and probably just keep their strong start to the season going. I think they're the only team in the country unbeaten now, which is obviously quite impressive for Tim Clancy's men, given the fact that he's only after taking the job a couple of months. But first half, Cork City probably started better. Evan McLaughlin had a good opportunity that maybe not even a good opportunity, maybe more of a speculative effort that he just put over the top corner from long range. And UCD also had their chances. Harry Curtis probably had their best one. He was unmarked just outside the 6-yard box and headed just wide. Probably should have scored, but obviously didn't. And ended, obviously first half ended scoreless, and not an awful lot happened in the second half either. Barry Coffey probably had the best chance of, not even a best chance, probably I suppose raised the volume level in the UCD Bowl the highest when he had a shot kind of stung Keane Moore's palms and went over the bar. And Jayden Newman went close late on, but look, to be fair, I think a draw was the fair result. And look, for Cork City, they're obviously now one more point further clear at the top. Obviously Finn Harps are beaten tonight, so as a result Cork are now 4 points clear rather than being 3 points clear. So all in all, a good night's work for Cork City, even if they might feel like they deserved all 3 points, but I don't think UCD deserved to lose either.
Extratime.com's Andrew Dempsey. Let's hear now from Cork City manager Tim Clancy, who spoke to Andrew about the match itself, but also the situation with Turner's Cross and whether or not they know when they'll get to play at home next.
Listen, we're sitting in the dressing room there and we feel it's points lost. We're disappointed. I don't think Brad's had a really a save to make. We had a couple of chances where we should have done better in the second half. I think we were pushing right to the end, and I think the substitutions we made, I think Nathan was excellent when he came on. I think Josh was brilliant when he came on. Sean Murray really had a good impact, and Jayden had 2 chances near the end to score as well. So yeah, we were pushing. Really disappointed. We've seen it back in the first half. It's just an absolute nailed on penalty. I don't think you can get any clearer for Cahill in the back post. He's got ahead of the boy Wells, and I think it was Alex Dunn, I think it might have been, and he's gone straight through the back of him. He's the wrong side. He's gone down the back of his leg and also pulled his jersey, and the ref was saying no, he didn't think it was a penalty, but it's a huge moment. I'm disappointed we didn't get it.
If you look at the last winners, I know you guys really want to win the first division this year, but it's always, I think it's a stat for maybe the last 5 or 6 years, the team with the best defensive record always wins the division. Is that something you've kind of come in and thought about, or?
No, 100%. I think it was difficult last season. There was maybe a hangover for it's a long off season when the season doesn't finish well, and I think there was a lot of goals conceded last year, and we deliberately played against strong Premier Division teams in pre-season because we want to try and work on the defensive side of things from the start. And listen, it's helping. They're gelling, they're working hard, they're defending really well, and they're brave with their defending, and it gives us a massive platform, and it gives us confidence that if we can keep it tight and defend well, that we should be able to get opportunities to fire into the pitch.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're probably sick of talking about the 2 young lads you have, Jayden and Cahill, but like they look 2 really special players, don't they?
They do, yeah, and I think again it's trying to get the balance right with them. They're still very young. Cahill's just turned 17 and Jayden's just turned 16, so it is very, very young players, but you see that they've got a lot of ability, and we're not afraid to use them. We're starting Cahill tonight in a massive game, and we're bringing Jayden on a 0-0 away from home against a really good side, and again he came up, he'd bring a little bit of skill, went inside and hit straight at the keeper, and he'd do the one back post with the header. If he had a little bit more belief, probably he possibly would have gone and scored.
Yeah, and just on what happened this week, obviously with Turner's Cross, is that going to change preparations going into the next world? But obviously you don't know if you're going to be able to play at home.
No, listen, you've got to play 18 games at home and 18 games away, so the order it's in is sort of irrelevant for us. I think the clubs are talking. I'm not sure what's happening, but I'd imagine we'll be back in there pretty soon, and hopefully it'll be pitch will get the work needs done on it, because we've got an unbelievable record at home this year. We've played 5, won 5, not conceded yet, so we can't wait to get back in, and the atmosphere especially the shed end with the fans in there, it's special, and I think the lads have really risen to it this year. So we prepare for next week, irrespective of where the game is, and we're ready to go.
Tim Clancy, the Cork City manager, speaking to Andrew Dempsey. The first division table looks like this: Cork City on top on 22 points, Finn Harps second on 18 points, UCD third on 15 points, Wexford fourth on 14 points, but they have 2 games in hand on the 3 teams above them. Treaty United in 5th on 12 points, Athlone Town 6th on 12 points, Kerry FC 7th on 9 points, Bray 8th on 9 points, Cove Ramblers 2nd from bottom on 7 points, and Longford Town bottom on 3 points, but Longford have 2 games in hand on a lot of the teams, and even 3 on some of them. Let's run through the fixtures. There is one game tonight in the First Division. That's if you're listening on Saturday. Longford Town taking on Bray Wanderers. That one kicks off at 7:45. I know there's games in the First Division midweek next week. I'm just kind of flicking through to make sure I don't miss them on the FAI Connect app. On Tuesday night, Wexford hosting Longford. On Wednesday, there's nothing in the First Division. Thursday, nothing in the First Division. On Friday, it's Bray Wanderers against Treaty United. Cork City take on Longford. Cove Ramblers up against Finn Harps. Kerry meet at Lone Town, and Wexford play UCD. If you're listening on Saturday, there is a full programme of SSE Electricity Women's Premier Division games today. Again, that's if you're listening on Saturday. At 2 o'clock, Shelbourne take on Shamrock Rovers. DLR Waves up against Cork City at 3 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, Galway United take on Bows. Also at 5, Treaty United meet Sligo Rovers. And at 7:35, it's live on TG Cahir at Lone Town take on Peamount United. Kieran Kilduff, the Athlone manager, was on with Dan and Johnny during the week on LOI Central. It was really good. As was John Flanagan on the Extratime.com podcast with Luke Jordan. Luke will be back during the week to take a deep dive into everything that's happening in the League of Ireland. And if you want to get some analysis and get the thoughts of some of the players following the Republic of Ireland's 2-0 defeat to England at the Aviva, we had a podcast after that as well. Ciara Carusa and Denise O'Sullivan speaking to Christina Allen, I beg your pardon, and Macdara Ferris of Extratime.com. I'm going to ask what all podcasters ask, and I think you know what's coming here. If you could review, like, or subscribe, that would be amazing. You can do that on any of the various platforms that you listen to podcasts to. Don't forget to check out extratime.com for all the latest on Irish football, and you can get in contact with them via X. At Extra Time News is their handle. At Oisin Langan is mine. I'd love to hear from you. We are back on late Monday night or early on Tuesday morning. That will be to cover Dundalk against Bows. Well, Bows against Dundalk. We'll also look back on the weekend of women's Premier Division fixtures. Until then, take care. Bye bye. Thanks for listening.